What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and I'm here today to review Life is Strange 2, Episode 1. So I'm going to be talking about the first episode in a spoiler-free fashion for this video. We'll be doing this for every single episode of Life is Strange 2. I want to compare it a little bit to the first season of Life is Strange. I do want to make separate videos for that, and we also have a Life is Strange community series that airs every single Wednesday where we talk about topics. So we're only going to purely review this episode and go from there. So overall, I thought this was a fantastic episode. I really do. I think it really did everything it needed to do to set up a really good, I think, second season, or however you want to call it. I really think it did a good job. Now, what I will say, I mean, the graphics, for one, the graphics and the improvements to everything in the game in that sense was fantastic. The nature, and especially the forest and the trees and the color of all that stuff looked amazing. The characters looked vastly improved. You know, the characters still at certain angles or certain like camera viewpoints didn't look all that great, but the environment of this game looked phenomenal. The smaller details, just when you're walking around interacting, I like what they did. I like the kind of the actual cut screen that they do when you make choices. I really like that. Very different than the kind of Max choosing things in the first season, and the way they did that. I really like that kind of art style and that choice. But I like this one just as much. I really think it's a really cool thing that they did there. The characters overall are pretty strong. I mean, Sean and Daniel, they're younger than Max and Chloe, but they're pretty deep characters, and you can tell their relationship, and you know that it's going to be complicated and it's going to be filled with ups and downs, and they really sold it. I mean, I really do think they did a really good job. The voice acting all around I thought was pretty darn good. The lip syncing was really good, and the story was very solid too. Now, the story I think did have some ups and downs to it. I wasn't a fan of some of the aspects of the story or some of the smaller things, but I do want to talk about that in a community series video coming up this Wednesday, so I don't want to go too much into that. But the characters, a lot of this game is very strong. Some of the decisions and how you're going to impact Daniel's life is really cool. There's a couple twists in this episode. There's an Easter egg that's not really an Easter egg. You can't miss it, and it's a pretty huge nod to the first season of Life is Strange. I really enjoyed that. So there was a lot to like about this episode, and Sean and Daniel as characters are really strong, and I think they're going to be good for going ahead in this season. Now, what I will say is, as a whole, I think this episode was better than episode 1 of the first Life is Strange. I think, like, overall, in terms of quality, in terms of just everything that happened, it was nice and long. It was around 2.5 hours long. And you could probably even go longer if you literally interact with everything in the game. I don't really think that's necessary. I don't think there was as many cool things to interact with as the first game. And what I will also say is I don't like Sean and Daniel as much as I like Max and Chloe. So if we're comparing characters, I would say Max and Chloe win, but we've also had 5 episodes with them, and Chloe we've had more, and we've also had the farewell episode, so we've had a lot of Max and Chloe. I like Sean and Daniel. They're not bad characters, they're just not as good. And another thing is the actual power that one of these two brothers possess, and we won't go into about that, but the power itself is pretty cool, but we don't know all that much about it. We don't really know how it's going to be used. We don't really know where the game is going all that much. I mean, they kind of have a heading of where they want to go, but some of the decision making by the characters is a little like puzzling, and I wouldn't do that. And if I'm looking at them, I'm kind of thinking, why exactly are we making some of the choices we're making? Not even choices that we have control over, but the choices that they're making. So it has some ups and downs. And while again I would say the quality of this episode is better than the first episode of season 1, where the season's going, I feel like in the first Life is Strange it had a better destination and it had more intrigue to it. Now again, there's a lot to learn about the powers. There's a lot to learn about the brothers and growing their relationship and seeing where that goes, and seeing what will become of these powers, especially now that they know that they with the powers. We're not going to go into spoilers, but there's a lot to learn there. So there's more mystery to it, but I feel like they kind of add mystery, but they drop the fact that I don't really know where this is going. I don't really sense the greatest danger. I mean, all they're kind of doing is running away. It's just like they think of it, or at least Sean's trying to teach Daniel about it in terms of like it's just a road trip. But they are runaways, so it has that aspect to it. But I don't sense this grave danger. In the first episode of Life is Strange, we knew that this tornado was coming. We knew Max had powers, and I just feel like that is a more interesting plot than this. I still think this episode is fantastic. I think you should absolutely get it. This season I think started out really well. Cannot wait to play the other 4 episodes. I'm impressed. I mean, they didn't drop the ball. Was it as good as all 5 episodes of Life is Strange? Strange? No, but it was very, very good. And like I said, I think it was better than the first episode of season 1. So I think there's a lot of really good things coming to this season. I think overall, maybe it could be better. And I don't think Don't Not drop the ball at all. I think they've kept it very, very strong. And they've done a lot of things in this episode, keeping the themes, keeping the darker messages. And you can tell it's still a Life is Strange game. And I really, really like that. So a lot to like about this episode. So let me know in the comments below, guys, what do you think of the first episode of Life is Strange 2? Again, I say you absolutely should buy it. This is a must-buy if you played the first season. And it's a little bit more expensive if you buy the season pass, the $40 season pass. Each episode's $8, which is more than the normal $5 per episode. But, I think it's worth it. I think I said that I would pay $60 for the first season of Life is Strange, and I absolutely would. So, it holds here too. But let me know what you guys think. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel podcast. Now, again, we have a community series for Life is Strange. It goes up every single Wednesday where we talk about Life is Strange topics. Make sure you guys check out that. We've already done several topics, and we're going to be continuing all throughout Season 2 or Life is Strange 2. So thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you on the next video.